Hi, I'm Cristian Camilo Delgado, a junior developer focused on QA and automation. In this video, I will show you one of my first complete QA projects, an automated CRUD flow using Postman, where we create, read, update, and delete a user while running validation tests in every step. The goal is to simulate a real API test scenario. I used request that in a public API for testing. The test flow includes first, creating a user. Second, saving the user ID as a variable. Third, retrieving the user using that ID. 4. Updating the user. 5. Deleting the user. 6. Validating all responses with a script. And 7. And excluding the full collision with the runner. Let's start by creating a user. I set the request to pose and set a simple JSON body with the name and job. Here's the payload I use. Name, San Christian, job as a QA engineer. In the test script, I validate the status code to be 201. And I also extracted the ID from the response and I stored it into an environment variable called user ID. When I send the request, we can see the ID is logged in the console and the test passed successfully. Next, I use that store ID in a GET request. The URL uses the variable that you can see in the screen. Here, I validate the response's status to be 200 and check that structure contains a data property. Because request that in doesn't precede uses created with pose, I skipped validations like checking the email. And here we can see that the response came back successfully and the test passed. Now I'm updating the user using a pull request. Again, I use the variable user under dash ID in the URL, and the body contains the updated name and job. And here's the body. You can see the name as Cristian Delgado, job as an QA automation engineer. In the script, I validate that the response code is 200 and that both fields were correctly updated. As you can see, both tests passed and the responses include the update values. Finally, I send the delete request to remove the user. The expected response is 204, no content. Here, I validate that the response status is 204 and the body is empty. Everything passed correctly, which means the user was successfully deleted. Once I finished all 4 steps, I ran the full collation using Postman runner. I selected my collation the environment and ran it with a short delay between each step. Here's the result. All requests were executed in order, and all test validation passed. This simulated a full regression test like a QA engineer will run in a CI/CD pipelines. I uploaded the entire project to GitHub, including the exported Postman collection and a professional README file. The README includes a project descriptions, list of tools, usage instructions, and even a note explaining the behavior of the public API. Anyone can download this collection and run it on their own Postman workspace. With this project, I learned how to build automated test flows using Postman, how to manage variables, reading dynamic scripts, and how to document a QA project professionally. With this project, I learned how to build automated test flows using Postman, how to manage variables, write dynamic scripts, and how to document a QA project professionally. This is just one of the projects in my QA automation portfolio. You can find more on my GitHub and personal website. Thanks for watching. I'm Cristian Camilo Delgado. See you in the next project.